Good afternoon and welcome. I was meant to stream from about 2 o'clock, to be honest. Hey Rustic, lovely to see you. But it's pumpkin pickup day today. So the Wiggly family headed off to a local farm. It's amazing actually, which had so many pumpkins. And we picked up a bunch of pumpkins. Kind of one each, one for Nan and a couple of really small ones, or 3 I think, that just looked really cool. Honestly, I've never seen so many pumpkins in my life. They were, to be honest, I don't even know if they grew them at the farm. It's a massive, massive farm. And it's kind of turned into like a farm business, not really doing farming things, like making a business out of being a farm, if you see what I mean. So they do events and it's really, really well put together. So they'll do a Halloween pumpkin thing and they'll do a Christmas type big grotto type thing and all sorts of stuff like that. And so they probably make most of their revenue from doing these kind of events, you know. And I have a feeling that the pumpkins were brought in from another farm, because I saw a great big load of pallets full of pumpkins with another farm written on the side, and then distributed over the field so that everyone can come and pick them, so to speak, because they weren't really attached. But it was amazing. It was really, really good. We took Hazel. We had a really, really lovely time. Yeah, it was nice. It was really, really nice. Rustic saying, here in the US, Christmas tree farms grow a few in front and have trees shipped in on a truck from North Carolina. Yes, exactly. That is quite funny. They do, thinking about it, they do a lot of Christmas trees up there as well. I mean, it works, but it was a huge operation. They charged you to go in. I kind of thought it would be free and pay for the pumpkins. Actually, they charged you to go in, and the pumpkins were incredibly cheap. So it sort of worked out okay in the end. But there was a big kind of barbecue thing going on there and a big bar, and it was probably an event for the day. Really, we could have gone and spent the day at the pumpkin farm, but sadly, Mrs. Wiggly had a dentist appointment, which she's just returned from. And we had to get back, but it was all good fun. Anyway, I thought if I can get it together today, I might try and work out how the morphogene works on the modular. Everything's kind of working now. This is also StreamYard streaming, which is quite impressive actually. I worked out why it was throwing up error messages yesterday, and I lost all the chat. It was basically that I hadn't set the record settings correctly. Sound a bit sibilant. I hope I'm not doing your heads in. Let me just see what I can do. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's try that. Yeah, so I thought I might work that out. And really just chill out. But I'm almost there. Instead of tidying up the whole studio and getting it kind of ready for more streaming like this, I've kind of not tidied up the whole studio at all, and it's not ready for streaming like this. But you know, we'll give it a go. But the point is that StreamYard is now streaming correctly from here, which means possibly the whole reason for using StreamYard was because they'd added a option to bring in other people to chat, which when we tried with BG Ollie the first time, it kicked me off the stream and everything exploded basically. So worth a try. But with any luck, I think I've got the modular plugged in, and I was going to do like a listen along with Loopop. He's made this video about the morphogene, which is this crazy sampling, looping, tape style. It's been out for a while, module. So I thought I'd kind of run that in one screen and see if I could emulate it in the other and learn how it works. Because the one thing about the morphogene is it's a bit like the Octatrack. It's one of those things you forget how to use it. There's a lot of key combinations that you have to remember in order to do stuff, which is beyond my memory. Hey, all that's gone. And hey to Kurt, I'm getting used to these day streams. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I quite like it. The only thing is I do need to get stuff done whilst I'm streaming. I think once I can relax a little bit and don't have to worry about the technical side so much, it's a good one. If you just let me know, is the voice loud enough and the music loud enough? If you need more or less or anything, just give us a shout. I guess the voice is probably loud enough. Hopefully the music isn't overpowering, and hopefully it's not too low. Rustic saying chill music and great topics. Yeah, we have to come up with some great topics, but Morphogene should be a good one. Kurt's in Toronto. Do you know, I didn't know that. It's only 10:45. I mean, I did know that, but I've forgotten. So it keeps me busy. 10:45 a.m. Nice. The whole day is ahead of you. I'd quite like to do 2 p.m. streams, to be honest, till about 5:30, and just see how it goes. This one is also live on Twitch, which is kind of, I would say, a better platform. But hey to you, Ujek, or Jack. Thank you in Twitch. I just managed to see your message, and hey to you, Martin Taylor. And all that's gone again. Thank you. So Twitch is kind of more about these afternoon streams, but I don't have that much following on Twitch, and it's not really a gaming thing. So we'll see. We'll see how YouTube goes, but it's streaming on Twitch as well, just in case. Of which Jack is watching. Jack, if you want to pop over to YouTube, there's more going on in the chat. You'd be very welcome. It looks like I have only one listener over there, or viewer over there anyway, so we're picking up. Good to know the audio's cool. DJ Mechanicom. It's like hospital all over again. DJ Mechanicom, welcome to you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Martin Taylor saying, Erica sample drum to Rustic. Morphogene is a desire, just a bit out of budget at the moment. Any cheaper Morphogene alternatives? Yeah. I don't know. Martin's saying, and he knows more than I do, definitely, about the Erica sample drum. I'm not sure about that. It is expensive, actually, but I think it's a bit of a one-off. They do a couple of things like that. The mimaphone, and there's another looping echoey thing, I think. Which is kind of cool. All that's gone. Check Reflux Live Loop. Aha, for a very weird, less expensive Morphogene option. I'm not knocking you, Martin. I thought the sample drum was less of a Morphogene thing and more of a sample player, but I could be wrong. Reflex Live Loop sounds like an interesting thing. I'm pretty sure there's some iPad style stuff as well. Like one of the loop synth ones. I think Expert Sleepers. I think that's a Mac and PC one, but I'm sure there's something on there. Hello to you, Kent Spong. Hello to you, Will Joseph. Good to see you, Kent. Good to chat to you last night. I'm glad you're feeling a bit better, which is really good news. Really, really good news. What else is going on apart from the pumpkin adventures? Probably not that much. It's a nice day here. Kind of the sun's out a little bit. It was raining a little bit earlier. Last night I found some really good sample fodder. One of my hobbies is radio and just listening to obscure radio stations and stuff. And I found some online software-defined radio stations. So you can get these software-defined radio boxes, which are quite nerdy, and they basically they use your computer, but they front end the radio bit. So they kind of squirt the radio spectrum into your computer as a big wide all at once thing. So instead of tuning to Radio 1, you kind of get the whole of the FM band, so you can see where Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 3, Radio 4, Virgin, all the rest of it are, and then you can scan through it. It's almost like a big spectrum sampler. Which is cool, but they're quite expensive, and you've got to get aerials to make them work and all the rest of it. So people have started putting them online, so you can literally, there's a couple in Russia, there's one, a big one in Amsterdam. There's loads of people running them in their houses as well. So you can go to a website and tune around various frequencies of someone else's software-defined radio. I think originally it was used if you're kind of into broadcast, you can check your signal. You can listen to yourself if you're broadcasting a radio station or something. You can check it back. But it's really cool to find a weird and wonderful kind of shortwave obscure stations, which I thought would be good fodder to use for the morphogene, because as you tune around, you get these amazing, most bonkers things. Also, a lot of very enthusiastic religious stations. You know, some of those American ones in particular, where it's like la da 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 da. You know, there's some amazing samples to be had from those as well. Oof, 385 US for Reflex Live Looper. Hold on, let me just see. Reflex. I mean, I'm not saying that's about as much as a morphogene, I think, but it does look amazing. Fresh Nelly. Don't tell me the company's called Fresh Nelly, or maybe the reviewer's called Fresh Nelly. Wow. Sound sculpting Eurorack modular. Let me see if I can share my screen. The way I got Streamlabs working was by wiping everything out. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do have a link for it. Let me just paste that in. 1 second. I think Fresh Nelly is the manufacturer with any luck. Right, now I can share my screen. Oh, the live loop company is called SDS. Okay. I wish it was called Fresh Nelly. Yeah, number stations. That's what I was looking around for, Dan Johnson. And there's not many around anymore. And they're not constant. I think that's the thing. They shift frequency all the time, and they're not on all the time. So you have to kind of get lucky. I'm sure there's probably a forum somewhere for number station spotters. We'll talk about number stations in a minute. That's a fabulous kind of thing. Streamer iOS app. No, I'm sure it does something pretty similar. And the link for the yeah, you probably didn't mean the link for the looper. You probably meant the link for the radio station, DJ Mechanical, and I'll post that in a sec. Okay, Martin Taylor, sample drum samples, but you have to cut slice longer to get similar results. Morphogene is quicker, and you have to scan for sample reels as there's no screen. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, okay, that sounds good. That does sound good. All that's gone says people love or hate the live loops, so they blow them out for cheap sometimes. Oh, okay. So they blow them out for cheap sometimes. Oh, that's worth a look. Got mine for $250. Okay. Nothing is worse than groove synthesis, says Brett Lemmings. Connet project for number stations archive. Oh, there you go. It's already there. Fabulous. Now let me find then. Okay, let me share my screen as I was going to try and do, because I've lost all the Streamlabs settings. So display capture. Okay. All right, so there's Reflex Live Loop, which kind of looks pretty cool to me. Yes, sound sculpting Euro. Yeah, exactly. Nothing worse. What have we got? Stereo, so that's good. That's one thing the morphogene is, which I like, because a lot of modular stuff is only really coming around to being stereo these days. That is one really cool thing. It looks very similar, to be honest. You've got a slicing up, you've got a record. The morphogene, basically, you can record into it. It could just be a recorder if you want. You can loop it and record over the top of it. As in a standard looper, but then you can start kind of breaking down your recording into slices, and then you can divide those slices into shards. It's not shards, it's a word like shards, and adjust the speed. So at one end of the thing, you can almost be doing granular synthesis by slowing the playback of those things down really slow or reversing them, and at the other end you could simply use it as a delay. Rustic, thanks for sharing the stream on Twitter. That's very kind of you. Thank you. And once this song kind of gets a little bit more common and I keep it going, I'll do the proper stuff and do all the shares. At the moment we're kind of test mode, I suppose. Mylar did a review of Morphogene a long time ago where he put vocals through it from Dofa A119 or any line level signal. Yeah, that's cool. YouTube was for Live Loop versus Morphogene. Okay, that's cool. I sent you the right link. That's cool. Number stations, there used to be a big kind of kerfuffle about their secrecy and whatever, but basically if you've come across them, they tune around the bands every now and then, and it consists of a voice, female or male, usually starting with a kind of weird musical monophonic, type of thing, and then you hear someone going 34, 47, 62, like some kind of bizarre radio bingo session. And what it transpired it to be, they were pad codes for supposedly spies in various places. So one of the ways they used to use encryption is you'd have a book, let's say you had Shakespeare, and the numbers would tell you which page and which paragraph and whatever to start your key encryption from, something like that. It's never really been discussed and absolutely proved, but I think plenty of people have kind of spoken about it, and they do still occur every now and then. But they sound eerie, particularly the kind of opening. It's very, very Cold War. So if you can come, there's loads of recordings. If you search number stations, you can really go down that rabbit hole. Hey Neil Wharton, thanks for joining. Sample Slice, actually let's rewind because I'm missing some chat. ModBap has a cool FX processing module for $400. Unique vintage game buttons with glitch reverb. I tell you, ModBap are, well, I mean, I know the guy. He's been on Sonic State, I think, as well. Such a lovely guy. He's also involved with SynthDog, who writes all the manuals in doing, I think they're working together on the manual side of things, and it's really exploding for ModBap now. Corey Banks, isn't it? Lovely, lovely guy as well. What was it called? Did you say ModBap has a cool FX processing? Man, he's added some more modules. So Trinity is a drum synth. Hue is an audio color processor. Has drive, filter, tape saturation, lo-fi compression. Oh, it's really nice. They have a 2-channel audio mixer. A bi-fidelity wavetable oscillator. I should be showing you these. There we go, right from the top. Trinity is a 3-channel digital drum synth. Hue is the color processor, so it's got filter, drive, tape saturation, and a lo-fi knob, which I think should probably sound wonderful. 2-channel audio mixer, which has duck. Right, so it has a duck on it, so you can sidechain easily through it. Nice. All analog signal path. Input control, mute button, ducking input, perfect for submixers or final output in small or large Euro rack systems. The Osiris is a 12 HP bi-fidelity wavetable. And this is probably it, the Performer, which is a quad performance effects unit designed with live performance, studio use and sound design in mind. 4 performance effects, delay, reverb, glitch and tape stop, and 2 audio processing effects, color and compressor. That looks really nice, doesn't it? I can't buy anything else. I just have to talk about it on here. Maybe one of you girls will buy it and tell me how good it is. Let's just lose that. The right side of the live loop is granular chopping glitch. They call it loop sample effects. Oh, nice. Is this a bit like a newer Ginkgo synthesizer sample slicer? Not sure, Dan Johnson. Robath, hey to you. Greetings, Arm. Chattist, hello from me. Lovely to see you. Locked up with COVID. Oh, no, man. Not another one. We're clear of all that stuff at the moment. And I mean, not particularly COVID. It was a while back. Well, it's a few weeks back now. But colds and flus and general back to school stuff. It's being half term at the moment. So I'm sure it will kick off next week. Or the week after, rather, when Luna May's back. Looks like the Panda pedal does the granular stuff. Beads does something similar to Morphogene as well, says Martin Taylor. Okay, that sounds good. Beads. Let's see. Beads is a reinvention of clouds. Oh, okay. The concept is the same. Granular processing of an incoming audio signal and the labels on the panel are familiar. The similarities stop here. The hardware and software have been redesigned from the ground up with several goals in mind: a crisper and broader sound palette, more control, better playability, and direct access to new features. Nice. I've never got into that family of modules, really. I don't know why. I mean, it's very, very popular, that whole mutable kind of clouds, beads, all of this stuff along the top. I mean, you can build a fabulous system out of just of these things, but there's a lot of discontinued going on. Are they dropping out? I forget. What have we got left at the moment? We've got beads, plaits, ripples, and veils. Good names as well. Let's have a look. Modbap worked for Electron. Oh, did they? Did he? Okay. Hey, Keith in Watford. Lovely to see you. Original synth. Number stations, they used them as a narrative theme in that Nick Frost comedy ghost series called Truth Seekers. Malcolm McDowell plays his dad. It's pretty funny, kind of Carry On haunting. They're just weird, but they're great samples. I'm sure they've been used to absolute death as well as samples. No Sonic Talk today. Hopefully this might make up a little bit if you're bored. Nick can't make it today, so it's a day off, which means I'm not on it, and I'm also not messing around with chat code, making sure everyone can see the chat everywhere. Oh, Mutable have ceased. Oh my word, Mutable have ceased as a company. I thought... I couldn't remember, but oh man. Oh, now, yes, I do remember now. I remember what was going on in the background. Okay. Oh, it's such a shame. There's a lot of open source stuff here, isn't there? So I'm sure there will be plenty of clones continuing to be made, but wow. I wonder if there's a statement. I'd forgotten completely. Oh well. Okie doke. So let me see if I can get a sound going out of the modular. Let me see. Excuse the mess. You probably won't be able to see most of the mess, but let's see. So if I can call up that other camera. Lots of cloud copies now. Hard to decide which is actually the best to get. I guess it's all the same code. It's just down to the VCAs and the hardware, right, as to what's better. Let me see. That looks like another camera. Let me copy this. Okay, so if I make this one bigger. And this one's smaller. Is that right? Actually, no, it's not. I got it around the wrong way. What you want to have is this one. Smaller. Because I think that's going to be me ultimately, and this one I'm going to zoom into the modular to see what happens. So let's get that sorted. Plenty of mutable clones, yeah, absolutely, lots of cloud copies. Ricky Tynes left Novation for Electron. Was he with either? Ricky Tynes, the YouTube guy. Wow. Do you know what? I'm so out of touch. Right. Let me see if we can zoom this. Hang on. Oh, that's cool. I took a picture of it. So professional. I guess all we need is maybe the morphogene stuff for now. Let's see what we can do. Oops. Isn't it mad what you can do with computers these days? Okay. You can see a her mod. We can see a morph gene. We can see. We will be able to see me at some stage, I hope. I'll make that a bit bigger. That Schwayman, yeah, absolutely. Hey, BG Ollie. Ricky Tyne is with Electron now. Honestly, Dom, you're a big Surgeon fan. I am, Martin Taylor, as you know. He's just gigged in Store Speedy J Paradise Club, Amsterdam. Speedy J. Wow. Is it polypores that I'll come back to that in a second, because there was one of the guys, the really great guys that came on one of the Sunday streams, had just done a gig with him, but it was a surgeon chill out. I think he does banging techno, but he also does slightly more ambient stuff, and it was one of those, I think. Half God, half biscuit broke it. Is that about Martin? No, it's not Martin Taylor. Andy is not around. Okay, so Ricky Tynes. What am I getting muddled up about here? Ricky Tynes. Yeah, YouTuber, right? Does lots of stuff with stuff. I didn't know he was affiliated to anyone. Okay, well that goes to show. I mean, he's always talked a lot about Electron Kit, from what I remember. But then apparently he was with Novation. Anyway, whatever. Tasty setup there, Dom. Yum. Those Schwayman's new purchase. No. That Schwayman is an old purchase that I've had for a while. Very, very lucky to get it. Let me just pop this, see if I can drag it around. Yeah, really, really, really lucky. I only have one Schwayman thing. There it is. And that was a kind of surgeon inspired thing as well. Sorry, it's a little bit, the camera's quite a way away. I'm using the camera in front of me to zoom in right behind me just to get the shot. I'll fix it properly at some stage. But yeah, nice. It's such a nice thing. They're really hard to get. I keep threatening to lend it to Matt Hodson, and he keeps saying no, because I'll just try and get one. Right, let's stick it there. Hey, Andrew Brooks. Good to see you. All roads lead to the Force, it seems. Indeed. The new Akai Force OS update, another one. Well, we'll find out about that Thursday, tomorrow, with Inky's lessons, which are at 7 o'clock. I don't think I've changed it yet. It's advertised at 7:30. We'll probably start a bit earlier. And she's told me to update the MPC, especially ready in time. So me and Kent will be ready and waiting. Let me go and see if I can switch some stuff on. Yeah, the new Schwayman QMMF looks totally different to the version you have. I haven't seen it. I had some rumours about that. Someone was saying. Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be, oh yeah, the original sounds much better. They are incredible. They're just incredible one of the best things I think I've ever bought, which is good, because it would have been really disappointing if it wasn't, but they are really, really good things. Right, let me see. Just going to turn the music up for a little bit and see if I can switch some stuff on and get some signals going over there. So just bear with me for a second. All right, so now you can see the back of me and the modular. So that's a good start. We should be able to hear a bit of modular in a minute as well, with any luck. Let's just catch up on what's going on. Something, I think I saw a Rustic saying he's going to sell his Deluge for an MPC, even with the new display coming out. Check out the MPC lessons on Thursday to find out anything you want from Inky the Cat, who is an MPC expert. I've kept my Deluge, but then Inky's lent me her MPC, but it will have to go back at some stage, so well, we shall see. We shall see. Does the Akai Force integrate with Ableton at all? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. All that's gone says it does integrate with Ableton as a controller, or you can bounce projects back and forth, but if you're an avid Ableton user, you'll likely find the limitations frustrating. I guess the ability to export stems would be a bonus, because you're kind of stuck a little bit with Deluge on doing that. Andrew Brooks, Mr. Wiggly, QQ, do you still have find a use for the Tip Top one even though you have a bitbox? Yes. The logic behind that is I've got a load of kick drums in my Tip Top one, which I can switch through. And I used to have Joe Mock's M bass, whatever, the kick drum module, which was really, really good. And that kick drum module through the Schwayman was amazing, and I used to use it all the time. It takes up a lot of room. So I thought, now I've got a pulsar. Anyone watching this is going to be like, oh, I've had enough of these names. Now I've got a pulsar. I use the kick drum from that, and I've sampled a whole bunch from the Joe Mocks into the Tip Top one. And yeah, it's probably overkill, but it's nice to be able to just grab that knob and select kick drums by spinning it around. So that was the logic there. I didn't buy it especially. I've had it for a while because I was using it for random drum sounds before I had the Bitbox, the 1010 Music box. So at the moment, that's the plan. Rustic, think very carefully before you switch. It's very difficult, especially with that new display coming, isn't it? Aquatic Borealis, hello to you. So as someone who's just started with semi-modular with a matriarch, is there any modular stuff you would consider as essential or highly desirable as an expansion? Thus starts the slippery slope. I'm sure I won't be the first person to have said that. Well, very importantly, don't go to Modular Grid and start designing your ultimate modular. To get things one at a time and learn them, he said, with a big rack behind him, just about to learn Morphogene. Yeah, don't make that mistake. But make sure, I don't know, have a think about what you're missing with there. Whether you want to be adding some color and distortion and overdrive, whether you want to be adding some LFOs and modulators and that kind of thing. I have to look at what the sockets and stuff are on the matriarch, but you might find it worthwhile picking up a Behringer Neutron or a modular style cheaper Behringer type of thing, which is also semi-modular, and just running them between the two for sort of instant gratification. Anything like those. If you start to think, okay, now I'm going to build a modular, then if you're going the kind of subtractive synthesis route, then you will kind of need, well, you need the case and the power supply, which is already a chunk of cash. But then you're going to need sound sources, which I guess you could use your matriarch for, oscillators, filters, envelopes, VCAs, to start with, and that initial leap is quite a chunk. So buying them all in one package and getting a couple of those, you're already down that route. You can patch things and just see what they're like. DFAM, yeah, expensive. And the Mother 32, yeah, expensive, 500 quid or something. Brilliant little. I used to take the mickey out of the DFAM and kind of say, oh, all it does is go. It's kind of true, but it does it in a really good way. That's an expensive thing, expensive percussion machine, That said, it does have a very, very basic sequencer, and would work well with it. But I would look at some of the, Behringer Neutron to me is such a good synth. Anyway, despite whether it's modular or whatever, it's so overlooked sometimes. It's been on some fabulous tracks. It's kind of the hidden gem, I think. So yeah, you can get some amazing sounds out of it. Mr. Bat is very well. Yeah, it's right. It's just a family thing. He's gone to do nothing terrible. So yeah, he will be around next week, I'm sure. Zoya desktop box with modular cables. Is the Zoya the effects one? Yeah, the Empress effects, but that's like an internally patchable effects unit, which I've never tried. I think actually it'll function as a synth as well. It's a box. Have I got this? It's a box like that. where you can patch your various modules within it together. So you could put an echo delay followed by a reverb followed by a chorus or whatever you'd want to do. But I think internally it also has oscillators and that kind of things. But I've not tried it. I know a few people raving about it, which is kind of cool. Crave is a Mother 32 in disguise. Yeah, nice. I've forgotten about the Crave. In some ways, I have a Mother 32. I haven't got a DFAM. I think they're expensive. I think they're expensive for what they are. I hate to say it. They're lovely things. It's a Moog. I've been calling it Moog all day. It's got a nice filter. It sounds lovely, but it's a lot of money, for one oscillator, effectively, or a machine. Although if you have one, they are brilliant. You wouldn't knock it. Right, so where were we? Zoya has oscillators and filters and CV and effects. Ben Jordan does an album with it, I think. Okay, well there you go. How amazing is that? How amazing is that? I spoke to Andrew Brooks last night on Kent's stream, and he did a good gig after he popped up yesterday on this stream, so that's kind of cool. And he was drinking expensive cans of beer that he brought back with him from the venue. £7 a can, apparently, which is kind of amazing. Original Sense. Zoya is like trying to paint the hallway through the letterbox. But cool for 500 quid. Does Zoya do MIDI modulation at all? That's for someone in the chat, I think. Andrew Brooks. Crave is like a Mother 32. It uses Behringer's 3340 oscillator, which is different to the M32, but it is similar. Yeah, I think if it's your first foray into modular, I'd be really tempted to get another semi-modular to go with it. And I'd be tempted, if I wasn't too sure where I was going, to buy a Behringer clone or something like that, just to get into it first. Hey, Inverted Popes, lovely to see you. Right, let me have a look, because apparently there should be some noise. Oh my word. Actually, you might be able to hear that. Let me just take off the chill out music. I'm not going to do banging techno, don't worry. It just seems to be what's coming out of my modular when I switched it on. Have no fear. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to lose the chill out music for a second. I promise you I'll be back. I hope you can. It's probably too loud. If you want to let me know. I'm now going to stop it and we'll see if we can get some sounds coming out of the morphology. Sorry, hold on. One, two, one, two, one, two. 1 2 1 2. Okay. Okay. I'm hoping that you can hear me and that this isn't way too loud. Let's see if I put this here. Gonna Going to need to get some longer headphones at some stage. This is funny. It is working though, which is kind of cool. I've got a camera up here. I've got a screen share to my right so I can kind of see what's going on. We've got the modular, which looks a little bit out of focus for now, but we'll get there. If you just give us a thumbs up just to make sure you can hear me. And also, let me see if there's just an oscillator that we can hear. I'm just going to unpatch. Actually, before I unpatch, let's have a look. Okay. Can hear. Good, good, good. All right. If you could see, if I was zoomed out, you'd be able to see that I'm actually playing a little keyboard, playing an oscillator in the modular. So that's kind of a cool start. What I should be able to do with this morphogene is record something into it. But what I'll do first is I'll zoom out and I'll just show you what I've put together from when the whole thing was built last time, rather than just jumping in, because it'll give you a good idea of where we're at. So if I zoom forward so you can just see my back, what I'll do is zoom out this once again. Can still hear some bizarre stuff going on the modular behind me, but that's okay, at least it's working. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, if I move the chair, you can just about see everything that's going on. The thing we're missing in the bottom right hand corner, which is hidden behind me, is just an ES8, which is an interface into the computer, which isn't plugged in at the moment. So that kind of gives you a rough idea of where we are. Just before I switch back, Andrew Brooks Cheers cost me 80 quid did the Crove, so I couldn't ignore the Gucci sound build brand. Yeah, no, if it's at 80 quid, it's definitely, I can't recommend it highly enough. Steve A, any soft tube modular users? No, I know it's not quite the same. No, I'm not. But no, it's not. It is pretty much the same if you're dealing with something with a processor inside it. Dare I say it, the morphogene. I'm sure the software versions of the morphogene are probably really, really good because it's processing samples. Whereas something like the Schwayman, which is all components and stuff, maybe not so good. Maybe not so good on the signal path. Half God, Half Biscuit saying he uses VCV rack and Bitwig's grid. That's definitely something I want to get into. I started getting into Bitwig and it was just one step too far really, and didn't really have enough time to get to the bottom of it. But yeah, it was really, really good. Really, really good. Sentient Sound does use soft tube modular occasionally, though more for crafting complicated mono small polysynths to use in projects rather than standalone music making. There's so many options. You don't have to jump in down this crazy hardware route. It's a great way to spend a load of time though, which is great. If you have a load of time, let me see if I can just extend my headphone cable a moment. Okay, that's about as far as it goes. So, what I've ended up with, let's just lose that for a second. Interesting. All right. What I've ended up with is a mixing section here, which is this Fractals mixer, effectively, which is what I was putting in last time, with input gain, 2 sends, pan, volume, mute, and solo, I think. Not used the solo yet. It has 8 stereo channels in, which can be used as 2 monos if you want, or just 1 input as mono. and a group here which brings the sends and the returns in, and a master channel there which has the outputs. So this was my idea of basically being able to just route stuff really quickly and play the mixing desk by, automating sends or just grabbing sends on the fly. And those sends underneath are going to a Strymon Big Sky and a Strymon Dig. The Big Sky is a big reverb, so you can do all of those huge blooming reverbs that everyone thinks are passé now, but I love, and other reverb sounds as well. And the Dig is a stereo delay, fundamentally a clean delay. It emulates slightly darker delays and has a filter on it. It's not a tape delay emulation, if you like. They do one of those as well, but I wanted a pretty clear one, to be honest, with the ability to, what you can do is you can tone down the repeats so that it can have a nice bright kind of first repeat, and then it can go in a dubby kind of style. So that's kind of cool. Is Andrew off? Andrew Brooks, sorry about that. If you're heading off, good to see you. Have a great afternoon. Off to do a bit of shopping. How dare you? Sentient Sound, VCV Rack is a great way to go if you want to check out Modular World without dumping lots of money into it. I totally 100% agree. Also, if you get an ES8, which is just off screen here, Expert Sleepers, effectively their audio interfaces for Modular. ES9 is out now. I think the ES8 is a bit cheaper. This has 8 outs and 4 inputs. You can effectively connect your external real world hardware modular kit to VCV Rack and have a hybrid setup. And I think were I starting from scratch, I'd probably do something like that, and I would use a VCV Rack for everything that was fundamentally digital and algorithmic, because they can be completely reproduced within VCV Rack really, really easily. And anything that wasn't, I'd bang in over here. So you can literally route the sounds in and out. The thing with Eurorack is that the voltages and the signal levels are a lot higher. So everything's louder. If you take an output from here, plug it into a mixing desk, not all mixing desks can cope with that kind of level. They're not designed for it. Some do. And some modules are designed to take modular levels much higher, or standard line-in levels. The Morphogene is one that will take both. But generally, you're working at different voltages. And the reason for that, I don't know if it's a reason for it, but the product of that is that's why you can get all this electronics and stuff and put it in wooden cases with all the electronics exposed without getting hisses and buzzes, instead of surrounding it in metal like you would do with a sleeved cable like this. If you had an amplifier with line-ins and you built it in a wooden case without any shielding inside, it would be, you'd hear all the background noise and the crackle and the buzz and the radios being picked up, because the voltage levels are so low. So the small amount of interference will have a noticeable effect on such a low voltage or current or whatever, such a low powered device. Whereas plus and minus 12 volts that go into here, giving you a 24 volt power supply from plus 12 to minus 12, or at least 12 volts if you're only using one of them, means the signals can be louder. So although the interference probably gets in, it's so quiet compared to the size of the signal that you're actually shunting around. It works really well. And that's why I never quite understood why you could just simply put these in a box and they work. And that's why. And that's also why things like the Pulsar, or here the Lyra, which you can't quite see, but Pulsars and Lyras and have touch things on them, or crocodile clip style stuff that you can just clip on. And again, it works really well because it's high powered. So there you go. Makes you wonder why everything isn't high powered like that. I mean, Aaron Courts at SCAT, who makes really nice delay pedals and all sorts of I think he's on his way to building a synth at the moment, always runs 24 volt power supplies into his stuff, and I never realized until now how good that, what a good thing that can be. It increases the cost, but it gives you a load more oomph in there, and I think it allows you to reduce some of the interference that you'd normally be dealing with within the manufacturing process. Anyway, Let me just have a quick catch up on the chat. Modular synths are way easy to do without a wife, says Rustic. Man, I'm so lucky to have Mrs. Wiggly. She is amazing. She is amazing. VCV rack is good for experimenting before you take out a second more. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And when you're looking at clones of some of the stuff where it's open source, you know, you really can replicate very well some modules in software because you're using the exact software. VCV rack should have an online cost estimator, the hardware equivalent. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. That would work well. Anyway, so I also have this thing. Can I get it to the camera? There. It's called a Torso T1. And it is a kind of Euclidean-based sequence generator. And it's really cool in terms of being able to generate sounds. So I have that in terms of rhythms and stuff. It will also, it's not just rhythms, it will do CVs so that you can control pitch and stuff as well. But it's a great little thing in combination with the pulsar and with the more percussion-y stuff that's going on in the rack. So I will see if I can get that going. I think the pulsar is wired up. But not switched on. Let me see. I think I might have unplugged the pulsar to plug the light in, so I'll go and plug that in a second. So excuse me for one moment. Just before I go, does the high power cause extra interference with other low power devices, noise and grounding and grounding issues bane of my life? No, I don't think so. Not that I'm aware. Not that I'm aware. They're pretty inert, you know, within the package, and they wouldn't interfere with other stuff. You're more likely to get interference maybe from some of the processors that are in there, but no. But if you have got USB hum or interference, it can be a complete nightmare. Complete nightmare. I wonder if there are in-person training for modular so people can get started without buying. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, Original Synth correctly saying Deluge has a Euclidean too. Absolutely, 100%. I don't know why I haven't... I'll tell you why I haven't embraced so much of the Deluge on this. It was really a case of the number of outputs. It's only got a couple. But that said, yeah, this has got 6 outputs. Yeah, I don't know. I should have concentrated more on the Deluge. I put it to one side and I've kind of gone in a slightly different direction. Just waiting for the display, really, to be honest. Just hold on and I will plug in the pulsar. Okay, need to have a big volume control really for the chill out music because it's such a big deal. The fitting for the Deluge stuff should start soon, which will be really good, really good. All right, so I think we now have power. Let me just see what's going on. Okay, enough of my back. Okay, so I can play a keyboard under the... I'll tell you what, I'm going to sort out the camera angle for next time. But there is a keyboard on my left hand, and that is now literally just a Loquelic Iteritas going into my mixer. So we should be able to add things like the reverb. And the delay. Sounds pretty good, actually, considering it's such a weedy little intro sound. That is a Strymon Big Sky and a Dig delay. Which, if I could get the cameras right, would make a really good demo. It's quite interesting doing this to work out, because there's not much point in me having my back to you. So what I kind of need to do is put a camera above my head so we can look down and I can sit in front of this thing. We can get a proper zoom in on the modular itself, and then you can actually see what I'm doing with the morphogene properly. So I'm almost there. I just need to be able to make it so that everyone can see what's going on, and I can switch front to back. I don't really want to have all the modular set up on the desk behind me ready to go. It's behind me here, which is kind of really neat, but we just need to work on the camera angle. The camera on the modular system is the same camera that I use to do close-ups behind me, if I'm just streaming, and that's not ideal. I think what I need to do is be able to just remove that, stick it on a tripod and put it above, looking at this modular nicely zoomed in, so everything is crystal clear, because even with decent lenses it's still a little bit fuzzy on this side. But you can tell where we're going with this, and what I'm thinking is if I can get this into the morphogene alongside some of those radio samples, which I'll grab, we can really get something going with very little stuff going on. The fact it's kind of subtly distorted as well. Yeah, okay. Yes. Hopefully that serves its purpose. What I will do is I'll flip back to the other camera, chat on the other screen about the radio stuff, and we'll see where we can get to. So just give us a second and I'll flip it back. There you go. That's better, and you can also see that there's a modular behind me, right? So, whoops. So this camera that I'm using is literally zooming in all the way back to there, so I can, even if it kind of, you move it slightly on the carpet or whatever, it's going to look a bit fuzzy. So I shall sort that out, and we'll get it sorted. Let me go and grab that link that I found to the SDR online as well, and you can see what I mean about grabbing some cool samples. It works better after dark because the signals bounce around a bit better. Let's just catch up on the chat a little bit. Hey Inky, thank you so much for popping in. Don't forget tonight at 9 o'clock, by the way, the stream about proper hardcore recovery, addiction and depression. because it's such a big deal. So if you do fancy that and you haven't seen it before, or if you have seen it before and you're part of the whole thing, please do hit the subscribe button. You'll get a warning that it's coming on. It's on at 9 o'clock tonight, and then tomorrow will be MPC lessons at 7 o'clock. Let's double check the level of that music. Oh, isn't it better? Much better than my modular noise, even with all that reverb. Oh, it feels better again. Maybe we should just do chilled chatting in the day. That'd be so cool. Wow. Oh, all the stress goes away, doesn't it? Half God, Half Beast from Original Synth. You can do looping like the RC505 with the Force and much more. I found the 505 too limited for my purposes. Nice one. Is the 505 the big one with the buttons that Mark Rebier loses? I mean, it's cool. I'm sure it can find it a little bit limited. It does what it does very, very good. Very good, very well. Wouldn't mind an RC202 for transitioning between the tracks on Force. It's difficult to keep sound going switching between projects on the Force. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the Deluge does that very well. You can flip between projects and all that kind of stuff. You really want something that just lets the echoes and effects and stuff fade away rather than chop. I think Inky ended up with 2 MPCs, which is why I'm borrowing one of them now. Precisely for that reason, I think Inky will be able to fill you in. But switching between projects, don't know how that represents itself really, unless I'm just going to say you could run something that you could fade between. I did see a friend of mine, Moby1, saying that the counting had stopped working on his MPC after the update, which is a bit of a bad one. I don't know if you've tried a count-in yet, Inky. I'm sure we'd be able to cope with it, to be honest, but it's a weird one. Dom, how are you sending modules signal out to the big sky? Send and return. Yeah, this is the FRAP. This is a FRAP system that I've put in. My whole thing, I've decided, Martin Taylor, is that I need to play a mixing desk. I need effects. I need to turn, feed stuff back on itself. And just like Modbap, with their nice module that's a mixer. Which one is it? Wavetable. Transit. Okay, so Modbap make this transit. Frap make a whole bunch of this, from channels to a group to a transit, effectively. So if I find Frap for you. What I've done, they have a very slow website as well. Hopefully it's not me and I'm still streaming. But I do remember when I was trying to find it last time, it was very, very slow. Alright, let's go to Juno and see what that one's. Is it me? No, don't tell me my internet's just broken. No, it's fine. Alright, so Frap make a quad channel, which you can then plug into a group, which you can then plug into an output. So this quad channel is a stereo 4-channel mixer, basically. The red knob at the top is the line-in level adjustment. The yellow and the green are 2 aux sends. So you've got aux send 1 on the yellow, aux send 2 on the green, and the pan control, the pink one at the bottom. So there's the line-in level, aux send 1, aux send 2, pan, and you can flip them between pre and post fade, and you can also switch the whole channel to be dual mono, if you like. So you can put 2 inputs there and balance them together with the pan control, and then you have a volume control. So you route those. You can either use that module on its own, and you can take the outputs. The send outputs are here, but you wouldn't have any returns. You'd have to use 2 of the channels as returns. or you can go to a group. They make a group mixer module, and that is, wait a second, let's just find Frap again. So the mixers, there's a group channel. All right, so the group will go, your four stereo channels will plug into this group channel. That has global send and stereo returns on it with levels and everything. So really that's your effects return section with another master. And then if you want also, you can go out to their kind of master stereo output, which is not here, but it will be. Okay, so I don't think they're selling those ones. Their master stereo output is really neat, stereo bus basically. Let me just see if I can find the Frap website in case it will load this time. Oh, it's so slow, their site. Oh, here we go, at last. Find their mixer stuff. Must be this one. But anyway, that's how I'm sending. So I have a Frap mixer with the 4-channel stereo in, the group and the master out. You can see, even though it's not loading, you can see here you get balanced outputs. You get a pre-fade listen on headphones, so you can hear something through your modular before it goes live, which is really neat. And everything kind of clicks. It's an expensive output section, but I'm hoping it's actually going to make my modular something that actually works for me properly, which would be great. Because if not, then it's end of modular for me. Okay, so here you are. You have 4 channels input. You have a group which has your sends, the green and the yellow, the send out and the send return and the send level, and solo and mute as well. And then you have the master output section here, which gives you a really nice level control, overall level. It gives you a mono out for your kind of room feed if you need it, and pre-fade on your headphones as well, and switchable line and mic and the whole thing. So it's a really neat system. It's a really neat system. But probably over the top when you could get an external mixer. But the trouble with the external mixers is you can't do these sends, which I think is kind of the main thing, absolutely the main thing about trying to make something like this sound organic and real and being more of a performance, you know, is being able to just fly in a big reverb effect or a big echo effect, or, you know. And 2 sends would be fine for me for now, sure, definitely. Let me have a look. Someone's being converted to the Force. Half God, half beast, not half God, half biscuit. So weird. My mental block about that name is being converted to the Force. So Inky's powers are working. What if you're addicted to synths? Yes. Well, we're all addicted to synths. I just noticed that Udemy has a course with VCV. Really? That's nice. Octatrack is a great pattern transition looper. Yes, you're correct, because it has a crossfader on. It's kind of designed to do that stuff, right? Yeah, absolutely. What a thing the Octatrack is. But just like the Morphogene, every time I switch it on, said it before, we just forget how it works, and I'm always back on the manual working out how to do a trigger or whatever it might be. Inky the Cat. Akai want to get more dollars from existing users, not at those prices. What are they charging for these days then? They're not charging for the updates, are they? I have a 1010 Bitbox desktop that does looping. That's not the same as my 1010 Disc? Hey, Moby1! I'm just talking about you. How fantastic. Oh, cool. I think you were there to hear it. The update now fixes the counting. Just a little messing about after reset to make it all plug. Oh, cool. Cool. I'm glad about that, because that would be a big big disaster, to be honest. Mind you, the Deluge didn't have accounting for a long time, which was really weird. If you were trying to run it as a looper back in the day. Good to see you anyway. Thank you for joining. That's really cool. Original synth. I don't mind. I had them from the beginning, and I get so much more than I dreamed of compared to the Terai's SP16. Oh, this is the MPC still. Black box reminds me. Okay. One thing I have noticed, although hasn't happened recently, is that my 1010 bitbox crashes twice. It's crashed with a high-pitched noise. So purposefully, and I did read it up, and they do say if you're straining your power supply at all, that can cause it to crash or drop out or whatever. So I've made absolutely certain on this rack behind me that there are two power supplies in it, and it's about 500 milliamps over what it should be, although the power supply has a tolerance to cover what it is. But because there's two power supplies, I've made sure the one with the bitbox in it has more than enough juice to power everything, and the one without is like being slightly stretched, but no, not stretched enough as it should cause an issue. Just the kind of default level is it's lower than it should be by about half an amp. Original synth. YouTuber Snow Metal has really tried hard to get track transitions on Force working, but uses other kit currently. Yeah, you need something else to drop to, I guess. I don't think he's caught up with the chat on that one. Maybe one, thanks, good to know. Yeah, I have a Cosmix mixer, has send and return. Oh, Cosmix mixer. You're going to tell me it's much better and half the price. Cosmix Eurorack mono stereo modular. Not in stock. Interesting, but yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of, it's got one. I really wanted more than one aux send, but that does the job. So you've got an aux send, a left and right out. You've got no, yeah, you've got 6 inputs and a return, I think. That'll do the job, definitely. No CV control though over anything, so I don't think you can do ducking on the kick drum, that kind of stuff, right? Which is a shame. I think CV control over that stuff could be really interesting. You've got CV control over the panning and all that kind of stuff, you know, if you really get into it. I just want to get everything working slowly, bit by bit. I'm just working my way through the manuals on everything again to make sure. Mr. Biscuit, it's too late now. half man, half biscuit. It's going to stay forever, just as much as I'm Mr. Wonky. Let me see if I can find this SDR. So let me swap these around so that we can see the browser at the same time as you can see me. Don't forget, if you're not, I can't imagine any of you are not subscribed to the channel, but bang the subscribe button, smash the like button as well, actually. If you haven't, that would be cool. It's always good for the algorithm, makes it all worthwhile. I'll put that there so it looks like I'm looking at the screen. Whoops. Of course, all of this will of course be set up and done properly in future. All right. If you search for SDR radio online, websdr.org, that's a list of online radio monitoring platforms, if you like. Effectively, what they are is an aerial, a box, and an interface into a computer which is running a web server, a web service. And most of these cover specific frequency ranges, which tend to be the kind of ham radio, amateur radio, CB kind of communications thing, because most of the people that use this are kind of wanting to test their signal. They're experimenters, if you like. But I found one and that's good to listen to, right? But it's not the best for sampling, to be honest, because they tend to chat about the weather and, the size of their aerials and that kind of stuff. But it can be. If you're bored, it's really interesting. However, there was one I found in Amsterdam, which was wideband. So effectively, you see these numbers here. This goes from 3 megs to 4 megahertz, and 4 megahertz to 5, and 6 to 7. But there are gaps basically, and the gaps tend to correspond with some of the frequencies that are normally shortwave radio. The music stations and the weird and wonderful stuff, which is actually what I was wanting to listen to. So, 1 sec. Is there an Amsterdam? No. Hang on just 1 second. You got the phone. Yeah, so that's the stuff that I want to hear. However, where has it gone? I think I made a note of it. I'm pretty sure, because I was messing around. Okay. Here it is. I'm going to paste this in the chat anyway, just in case anyone wants to go and fiddle around with this afterwards. Hey, Ian J. Cole, lovely to see you. Okay, so that is the one that I found, which was kind of more broadband. This is what it looks like. And just for a moment, we'll lose the chill out music. Which I can do. Okay. Alright, so this is a picture of a bunch of the wave of the ether, if you like, of the frequency range. So if you think about an FM radio and you're tuning the dial from left to right to go from 88 to 108 megahertz FM roughly, that's a picture of that entire band. But it runs in this case from 16 megs to 16.8 megs, and that is a signal, which is just some digital weirdness. So what we need to find is some frequencies that have kind of shortwave radio stations running on them, which I think will start about 500 maybe. Now what's good about this is that people have gone through and they've spotted every time they've seen a signal, they've gone, I'll go and look that up and work out what it is. And they've gone through and done this really good work finding them. Now they won't all be working because things change in the course of the day, the atmospheric conditions change or whatever. So if you've got a station broadcasting music from Moscow or something, it'll fade in and out during the day, and sometimes you won't hear any of it. But you just have to go and see, really. And also, different stations tend to broadcast on the same bands as well. So you'll hear one at a time, or you'll hear them fading in and out. So if we look along here, we've got this thing set to AM, which is old school kind of it's like medium wave style broadcast, and we just want to try and find something that's broadcasting some obscure music or something. So let's just... That wasn't too bad. Let's just, hopefully you can hear that. I don't think I can pump it up anymore, but let me just zoom this better. So whenever you see a line here, that is some kind of signal. it could literally just be interference, like that. Or if you see it's got kind of an edge to it, that would usually be a voice transmission, and you can hear it. So, oops, this is a bit sensitive, so let me just...
مطمئنم که شما هم فرصت داشتین که که دیپلمات‌ها و خارجی‌ها صحبت بکنین.
Gotta find something better than this. Honestly, it's worth it. So this is a kind of idea for sampling into the morphogene. What's going on here? I also found one of these last night that was cruise email. They were blasting out emails to cruises that obviously the families had sent. It's quite interesting. Here we go, cruise email. As if by magic. Obviously not there at the moment. But if you, here we go, Israeli Navy. So a lot of this is interesting. What I'm actually trying to find, though, to be honest, is just some general music broadcasts. Jakarta radio. I'll try and find something. We'll probably get a copyright strike, but during the day is when the signals don't work so well. Hey, Di Stanton, thank you so much for the £10 for Great Ormond Street. That is so kind of you. So kind of you. If you just joined the stream, this is software-defined radio, and I'm just trying to look for some samples that we can grab for sticking into a morphogene in the next go, if you like. So this is an online thing. Anyone can go. I posted the link upstairs. Thanks to Mr. Walkley. That's so kind of you. Thank you. I haven't got the horn running. But Di, thank you so much. I'll let Luna May know. It's really cool. Like Radio Moscow on UFO. Yeah, exactly that. Although, what I was going to say was the daytime is not great for international radio station hopping, because what tends to happen is during the night, signals go up and bounce off the layers in the atmosphere, so they can go up and then bounce thousands of miles away. Whereas during the day, for some reason, those layers aren't available. I'm not quite sure the physics behind it. So you're getting very weak occasional here. So this is sound to cruise. That is not AM, that is sideband. There you go. That's probably a weather thing.
Cloud, few at 2,400 feet. Scattered at 3,500 feet.
X101, if you're there and you're not seeing those labels, you're probably in an area where there's nothing, like that. Whoops, not like that. But if you're really zoomed in, so to just this kind of space, here's a zoom here, right? If I zoom in like that, I'm not going to see any. So that range there is quite small. So zoom out, and you'll start seeing more of the available bands. So you can see, oh, here, look. All right. So finally hit one. This is called the 31-meter broadcast band, apparently. So if we zoom into that, you can see there's a whole ton of different stations running left to right. So AM is what to use for those ones.
국내외에서 최근 많이 나오고 있습니다. 한국 윤석열 대통령은 전날 국회 연설에서 북한이 핵 참사 사용을 공개적으로 표명할 뿐 아니라 7차 핵실험
Now I think a whole bunch of random stuff would be great to kind of have a really chill. There's a certain quality to the audio as well, which is kind of dull and comforting. As in, it's not dull to listen to, it's not trebly.
Taiwan vigorously promoting the peaceful development and integrated development across relations. Now,
it's amazing these stations still exist.
to the Taiwan question, why do you think
Ah, yes, Radio Garden as well. You're right. Paul Artola is saying there's a Radio Garden site which has access to all the online streams. So I think the way Radio Garden works is you can zoom into it. You say, I want to listen to St. Kitts kind of radio or whatever, and you can zoom in around the globe and see it. That's really cool as well. I quite like this because of the sound quality. Just because it just sounds cool. We need to try and find some of the religious ones as well, because I just like, as you would expect, off the scale enthusiasm effectively. That noise, as it kind of fades in and out, is actually caused by bouncing off the atmospheric layers. As those layers move a little bit, it's actually kind of changing the way that they're bouncing slightly. So it's either phasing against itself, or it's literally just fading away and coming back in again. Used to get the same on medium wave, listening to Radio Luxembourg, as people of my age tended to do when we were about 14, because it was the best way of hearing decent music. But it was broadcasting from Luxembourg, so you could only get it at night when the atmospheric conditions were correct. So yeah. So if you're messing around, have a look around 9,000-ish, 9,500, which is 9.5 megahertz. This is in kilohertz. And there are tons of stuff. And then at night, literally the world is your oyster. And having these kind of names underneath it: China Radio International, India, All India Radio. It has an audio quality which I think would suit you, which is really, really cool. And you can see, like for example here, which is apparently Radio Japan, there's something there, but it's very, very, very weak. It is there though, you can just about make it out. Now that may increase or it may fade away, and it's purely random as to how that thing's going to fade in and fade out depending on these atmospheric conditions and stuff. So Bob Van Hoove sucking you into online software defined radio to use as sampling for the morphogene behind me for the next stream, when I'm going to get the camera set up a little bit better. Di Stanton, I have an RF Nomad Eurorack module, which has VC tuning across a shortwave band. That's interesting. That is interesting. Same, I have an Ether as well, which does, it doesn't have a tuning thing. It just picks up whatever's around, whether it be bats or whatever. Whoops, I have just shot. There we go. Shot off in the wrong direction. My mouse is a bit crazy on this. What's this one? Somewhere in the other room I've got an AM transmitter that I bought off of eBay ages ago, with the idea that I would I would stick audio through it and then receive it on a radio and use it like that as an effect. I was thinking, maybe I'll do a plugin like that or something like that. Actually, sort of broadcast some of the mix or some vocals through it and then receive it and put it back into the mix. But no number stations so far. Let me see if I've got some audio of a number station. Amazing. Just park this up here for a second. Just close it for a minute. Here's I think there's some audio here of some number stations. I hope so. The archive. I think these are archives of people talking about number stations. Hang on a second. Number stations recording. There you go.
1 7 3 1 7 3 1 1 7 3
How cool is that? That's on the one saying he's found a disco station. That's brilliant, honestly.
5, 2, 4, 7, 9, 7, 6, 1.
It's so good. So
Zero.
good. It's so creepy. Especially when you think back when no one kind of knew what they were for, but there were definitely something kind of subterfugic. So it's something about subterfuge in there. Will Joseph, I've spent many hours finding samples on this website. It can be quite fun. Good, good. I'm glad to open it up as well for people. Original synth. I used a Soma Ether on a nature walk and the trees picked up radio. Wow, but the metal lamppost didn't pick up anything. I think lampposts are grounded. I'm not saying trees aren't. But I think specifically metal lampposts are kind of very well grounded in case they get struck by lightning. I could be wrong once. I had a friend who shall remain nameless who wanted to set up a pirate radio station many years ago in his hometown. And he had this frankly genius idea of putting the aerial up the inside of lamppost. And I think the lampposts back then were concrete as well. So it was great, and so he forced the thing off, the door off or whatever it's called, the panel off, and put it on fire. And I think the thing caught fire. I think it was a disaster. It was absolutely a disaster. And yeah, he's an amazingly clever guy making electronic circuits, but perhaps not so clever back then when he obviously shorted out the power supply and the whole thing caught fire. But I just think that was a genius place. Got your built-in power supply as long as you're only broadcasting at night. It's very, very clever. Pardon me. The Black Dog have used a number of stations in their music. Steve A, hello to you. I had a transmitter pre-USB in cars. Yeah, that's right. Connect the audio output and tune the radio to receive your MP3 player. I had one of those as well. It was fine until you drove longer distances and in and out of different reception areas. Yeah, they're like little FM transmitters, aren't they? So you could just literally play your phone or your MP3 before really Bluetooth kind of took over all of that. But again, the FM is a bit too clear. There's something about AM, a medium wave style. I mean, it's very, very similar to synthesis. Right? FM is frequency modulation, two frequencies modulating each other. That's what they do. That's how an FM transmitter works. It has a carrier, and then the music and everything else is the other oscillator that oscillates the carrier, and you get very clear, clean sound, which is exactly what you get from FM synthesis. Very clear, clean, noises. Whereas AM, amplitude modulation, is one oscillator that is basically modulated with the sound of the music or the voice or whatever you're transmitting in it, so that you can see this thing widening and closing. That's why on those things where you saw some patterns, you saw a double-sided thing with kind of stuff doing that shape, whereas an FM station will be completely solid pretty much. That's nerdy, isn't it? But there's also a thing called sidebands as well, which you should be able to synthesize. I was talking to Gaz about it. There are, I think, sideband synthesis methods, but I've never come across them yet. And it's a way of you do an AM transmission and then you remove the carrier, and you're just left. What's left is the just the modulation bit. But I can't quite work out how that can be applied to synthesis. Anybody fancying these foreign language radio stream or maybe finding, imagine how much fun is actually to travel to those places, not as a tourist, but travel. Oh, yes, Marikam, absolutely. I think that's, just what you find. Somebody somewhere is sitting in a room with a microphone, might be a big studio, might be a small little shortwave, doing it for the love of the thing, in the middle of somewhere completely remote, and we can hear them, and that signal's bouncing around the world. It's fabulous. NASA has a SoundCloud channel with some interesting audio clips too. Oh, that's cool to know. Bo Square did a track called Numbers. It's old but good. I'll tell you what we're missing is our beautiful sounding chill out music. So let's just get that to that. That's better. Paul Holmes saying he's used them in a couple of tracks. That's cool. Since it's sound number 9. Yeah, Paul, I told you you're right. Trees are the definition of grounded, aren't they? Just talking rubbish. Why would trees be good aerials and streetlights not? I have no idea. But you're right. Completely talking rubbish. So yeah, absolutely spot on. Steve A, as a kid, I occasionally heard radio received on the central heating system. It was all copper pipe. You sure they weren't voices? Maybe you just heard voices. How are you feeling now? All right? When I was a kid, I got better reception crystal radio by using the ground connection. Oh, crystal radios! Man, there's another thing. If you've ever seen there's some groups of crystal radio makers that are like, it's a work of art. Some of the ways they put these things together. Let me just see if I can find some. They literally are works of art, the guys that have built these things. I think there are better ones than this, but oh man, there are definitely better pictures than this, but the way they've built them is incredible. Kind of modern day ones. What's that? Yeah, what's that he's made? Yeah, that kind of stuff. Amazing. Crystal radios work without batteries. That was the point. So they're powered off of the power of the signal in the air, which is kind of weird when you think about it. But they were often used in prisoners of war camps. You could make them out of sort of flint for the crystal and a razor blade, little bits of wire, and cobbled together headphones and stuff. Incredible, absolutely incredible. I wasn't intending on talking about radio this stream, but we got sidetracked because it wasn't going to work out very well using the morphogene. But I'll definitely do morphogene next time. Andrew Brooks, weren't vocoders developed originally to make telephone signals clear? I think they were, yeah. Another modular carrier sort of idea. Yeah, I think so. Original synth. I also made a crystal radio using a piece of coal. That's it. World War II French resistance used them apparently. Yeah, indeed. You got a little piece of coal and then just sort of had a little razor blade or something where you would touch it and you'd fiddle with it until it would start working. And that effectively kind of works like a diode, I think. X101. It's super into this. Okay, he's got this stream open in one, and he's got the radio open in the other. Let's see what he said. 19430 is a super weird sound. Let's have a look. 19430. Oh wow. Don't know if that's interference or something. I'm not sure if you're here. I'm not sure where you are actually, X101. You might not be hearing what we're hearing over here. But yes, if you're into weird noises as well, then clearly that's just huge wideband noise. Looks amazing though. There's an Aphex Twin tune where he used a spectrum analyzer like this on the music and was drawing pictures of himself in it. And this is just strange actually, the way the frequencies are moving around. But it could even be someone with a hedge trimmer next door. You know what I mean? But music for my ears. A rectifier, that's right, not a diode. I mean, a diode is a kind of rectifier, isn't it, distanton? But yes, absolutely, that's what it worked as. The crystal works as a rectifier. Trees hold a lot of water, so will be coupled to ground. There'd be some interesting dielectric effects too. Yes, distanton. I have a Soma ether. I haven't tried it out properly outside anyway, so I think we should definitely I'll definitely go out on a walk and record what we can see, or hear rather. Spread the signal to balance noisy transmission media. I think the moisture and the shape of trees contribute to good reception. I'd say so. Moisture and shape, right? Yeah, it feels like they'd make better aerials than a roadside lamp. Distanton, Andrew Brooks, still used by the military for extreme bandwidth compression. Right. I used to know someone who set up broadband in the very early days for companies, you know, and they literally, one of them had to go to the office and one of them had to go to the exchange, and they would tune at both ends with, I suppose, vocoder style stuff, filters, to actually get the optimum speed between the two of them. Oh, X101 was hearing the same as us. Ian J. Cole says it's the aliens trying to talk to us, clearly. Yeah, that noise through a phaser would be quite sweet, wouldn't it? I used to be able to identify modem speeds by the sound of their at the beginning, which is a really sad thing to admit, but there you go. There you go. 5:30 is upon us. That's gone so quickly. That's gone so quickly. I am going to pop downstairs and see if I can find some food. Because Mrs. Wigley called earlier and said, would you like some food? And I said, no, because I was thinking it was about 4 o'clock. But 5:30 is the end of the day shift for so many people. Or the start of the morning shift or lunchtime shift for the guys in the States. I think I've proved that Streamlabs works. So this is kind of cool. We should definitely try bringing someone else in tomorrow, BG Ollie style, if he's around, or someone else if you fancy just coming in and joining. That would be great. We can actually test it. What I do is I send you a link. What you should get is a web page with me talking in real time, in the right, not delayed, and your own video coming back. So we'll give that a go. Original synth TV arrows with alternating 90-degree arms are very similar to sycamore branch grow. Actually, that's a good point. Directional trees. Wowzers. I think if you just get a massive long wire, traipse it around, you're probably good for... You must pick up something, right? Just massive. Absolutely massive length of wire. Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you, and girls. Sorry. Thank you so much for joining. I will try and stream a bit earlier tomorrow. I'm going to get this camera set up. But please don't forget, 9 o'clock tonight, if you fancy it, serious stream about depression, antidepressants, addiction, overcoming that stuff for an hour, 9 till 10 on this channel. It's all lined up. You can click a remind me button on here. Do come and join us, and hopefully, all things being well, I will talk to you again tomorrow, because it's kind of sweet doing this in the afternoon for a couple of hours. Nice way of spending an afternoon. Okay, take care. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take it easy. Or tonight. I'll see you.